Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your professional diploma in digital marketing and SEO. Today's lesson, we are looking at video content, ads, and campaigns. A little bit more of a breakdown in terms of what we're covering today. So, video content and advertising and the difference between the two, video formats and targeting capabilities, and then planning considerations for when you're making your own video. Now, there are three main differences between video content and video ads. First up, we have the length or format. When it comes to ads, they obviously need to be short and punchy, whereas content doesn't need to have the same constraints. Production quality can differ quite a lot. Your video ads are expected to be of the highest quality. If you're investing more money into marketing it, you obviously want to make sure that it's really good. This on top of the fact that it's probably safe to say you have quite a bit of competition. If you have a low quality ad, but your closest competitor has taken the time and money to craft something that looks high value, then you won't really have a chance, to be honest, particularly when it comes to video, as you need to capture interest in the first 5 seconds, if not before. Video content gives you a bit more freedom, unlike ads where the production is often outsourced. Many companies don't actually have the money to do this with content videos, and the longer length seems to make viewers a bit more forgiving, especially if the content isn't salesy and it offers valuable information. And this is where the third difference comes in, and that is purpose. The purpose of your video ad is at the end of the day to sell your product or service. But video content is more subtle, or at least it should be more subtle. Branding, education, information, inspiration, retention, etc. You won't achieve these objectives with video ads alone. So in order to have a better understanding of your target market and the way that they consume video across different platforms, let's take a look at some of the top platforms, starting off with Facebook. Now, Facebook videos are watched for updates on topics that users follow, like news, what's happening in their community, and industry updates depending on the industry. It's also a great platform for watching feel-good content, so things like inspiring stories about other people's lives, people doing good deeds, etc. Statista.com found that over 80% of videos on Facebook are viewed with no audio. And as most videos are viewed on mobile, it's also safe to assume that people are generally on the go, either commuting or dashing between appointments, waiting for something, etc. Then when it comes to Instagram, many videos on Instagram are published in vertical format, as in shot with a camera in portrait as opposed to landscape, so vertical versus horizontal. Users on Instagram also prefer short form videos, so videos that are short, generally less than 60 seconds. It also includes things like looping GIFs, so that would be considered a video in this case. You should think TikTok here as well, as that is fast becoming the most popular social media app. Audio is sometimes used on this platform. Then when it comes to Twitter, any content that is to do with news, so current affairs, opinion pieces, and anything that is trending is definitely on Twitter. Twitter is arguably the fastest paced social platform. You don't want to include content that won't age well. If you decide to use real-time events and trends as part of your content strategy, then of course you'll really need to be on the ball here. Generally, it has been found that no audio is used on Twitter. YouTube is the largest search engine after Google search, and as such is used in many different ways. But generally, apart from entertainment, YouTube is used to view educational content. People turn to the platform to search for and discover things that they are curious about, and longer lengths are much more acceptable here. People are in the watching frame of mind when on YouTube, which is more so than any other social platform like Facebook. This channel is specifically built for consuming video, so that makes sense. Then on a website, viewing video content on a website depends on the visitor's objective. Are they there to learn something new? Do they want to find out more about the company? Do they want to compare a product or service to something else or get instructions? Also, where you put your video content on your site is very important. If you have a video about the company, it would make sense to put that on your About or Team page, for example. In some cases, your homepage might be another ideal spot. Product videos should be on product pages, your blog or vlog should have its own section, etc. A company called Demand Matrix did some research into the state of video marketing, which looked into the types of content that businesses invest in. But remember, with this list that I'm about to take you through, this is not all the types of content that businesses do invest in. If your idea isn't on the list, it can still work, but just use this as a bit of a guideline. So here is this list of the different video content that is used. First up, we have webinars, and that is a live virtual event that is executed online. It's an educational or instructive session that also includes audio and visual communication between a speaker and its attendees. Then we have demos, and this is content that shows people how to accomplish something with your product or service. It is best to keep these short, a few minutes at most. If your product requires quite a bit of explanation, then what you could do is you could split it over multiple demos. For example, demo A could be setting up an account, demo B could be uploading a customer list, and the next one could be choosing an email template. Then we have social media videos, and the content of these will obviously differ depending on the objective, but technically these other categories could fit within the term social media videos if you're posting it on social media. But you might have, for example, a shorter demo video for social media with a link to a longer one on your site or on another channel like YouTube with a different call to action at the end, etc. Then we have explainer videos, and these are described as longer versions of demo videos, and they show people a problem or multiple problems that your product or service solves. Demo videos typically cover one thing, whereas an explainer video can cover multiple things. So that's the difference between the two. So these are the top 4 types of content that are used for video. But next up, we have product videos. These are like demos and explainers, but they're purely for products. And here I actually want to point out that it's important to note that just like in other industries, people use different terms to describe the same thing. So you might see something here or 2 things here that you feel is the same thing. It's not wrong, absolutely not. But in terms of this study, they were segmented into these different kind of topics. While a demo or an explainer can cover a broader range of things, a product video would be all about your product. Then we have customer videos, and this is content from customers, so user-generated content. There would be something like testimonials, perhaps reviews, customer stories, etc. This can come from the customer itself, or in the case of a review or a story, this might actually be promoted or created by the brand. Then there is how-to and educational videos, and these are things like how to put this furniture together, or how to style your hair in 10 different ways with our clip, or how to install our software. With thought leadership, we have 32% of businesses that invest in this type of content. Wikipedia describes it as an individual or a firm that is recognized as an authority in a specialized field and whose expertise is sought and often rewarded. Now, you will be familiar with this from our SEO module, so this is incredibly important and ties directly into your authority, how you are perceived by different consumers, and more. Then we have live streams. These are pretty straightforward. That's streaming an event, a discussion, or a Q&A. I watch a lot of these and they seem to be on the increase. Cultural videos in this context is referring to work culture, not the cultures of different people. This could be employees talking about how great it is to work for you, a tour of your office, sharing your ethos behind managing a team of people, etc. Then vlogs, which is quite a broad term here in terms of content, just because like social media, this could be around anything. but it's a relatively low percentage of businesses that invest in vlogs. Again, this is dependent on the business and its objectives. If it is an individual business or a personal brand, then I imagine that vlogs would be a higher percentage for that business. Then one-to-one refers to tech that can personalize video content to each individual, like featuring their name at different points in the video or including a profile pic or company name. Something like a one-to-one video would be a big investment, and so at the moment is really open to big brands who have quite a large budget. If we look at video length in seconds, we can see that 49% are not more than 60 seconds long. So this is mostly for ads. A lot of ads aren't longer than 60 seconds. Then we have 1 to 2 minutes, that is at 24%. 2 to 4 minutes takes up 12% of total videos. 7% of videos are between 4 and 10 minutes long. 2% of videos are between 10 and 20 minutes long, and 6% of videos are more than 20 minutes long. So we can see here really that it is mostly dominated by video advertising. And then when it comes to video content, that would be the longer formats. So the 4 and 10 minutes, perhaps 10 and 20 definitely, and more than 20 minutes long. Looking at video views by days of the week, just note that this is an aggregate, so it's an average of many different businesses and target audiences. It will always be better to look at your own data, or at least within your niche, to see if there is a trend. But here we can see that the highest view day is Thursday at 22%, followed by Wednesday and then Tuesday, and Monday and Friday are equal at 15% each, while Saturday and Sunday are actually the least popular days. Now, this makes a lot of sense for most businesses, and while this is generic, it does indicate that if you're going to launch a new piece of content, doing so in the middle of the week is probably better than the beginning or the end or over a weekend. Now, this is just referring to video content from businesses. So when it comes to personal, then the weekend would be a higher percentage. There are some assumptions in the following sentences, but the beginning of the week doesn't feel like the best day, as people are gearing up for their work week, tending to things that they didn't get to on Friday perhaps, and possibly responding to new things that have come up over the weekend. On Friday, we're all winding down and planning for the next week. The last thing that we want to do over the weekend is watch business or industry related content. Of course, if your content is entertaining, then it might be worth testing. Let's take a look at some social media video placements and bidding options. Now, there are 3 types of video. There's a skippable ad, which allows someone to skip the ad after a certain amount of time. I'm sure you are used to that with YouTube. YouTube has a standard 5 seconds, but there are other links as well, mainly outside of social media. I'm going to show you an ad from Burger King where they are very aware of the fact that people do skip video ads, and they're actually using that to their advantage in this ad. So I'm going to play that for you.
Bitches be on my nerves right now. I cannot even watch a simple YouTube video without these advertisements popping up.
YouTube ad. I hate these things. This guy's just trying to watch a graphic animal attack video, but no, I have to sit through an ad. Ugh, stupid, incredible deal. This guy's just trying to watch a screaming goat video, all black highlights, watch a music video, Jimmy Fallon clip, an Anchorman 2 trailer, North Korean babies play the guitar, but no, they have to sit through an ad.
So I think that is a pretty awesome example of an effective ad. But moving on to non-skippable ads, they are exactly that. You can't skip them. They can't be more than 15 to 20 seconds long. And the reason that there is that 5-second difference is because it depends on where you are based. Google can do things like that. They offer different things to certain regions. But I'd say overall about 15 seconds is the average. Both skippable and non-skippable ads can appear either before, during, or after any content that you're watching. Then we have bumper ads, which appear before the start of content. They are non-skippable and they are a maximum of 6 seconds long. These ads can be very powerful, especially when used with other placements or marketing content. But you can see here 6 seconds is really not a long time to capture someone's attention. So that's why when you're talking or thinking about your video ads and content, it's really important to make sure that those first 5 seconds are fantastic. Now, when it comes to deciding how and what you want to pay for advertising, starting with YouTube, you have several options. There is a CPV option, and that means cost per view. You will be charged once someone has viewed more than 30 seconds of your content. If someone skips your ad once that 5-second period is over, then you aren't charged, which is quite good. Then there is the non-skippable bidding, which is on a CPM basis, so cost per 1,000 impressions. Then 50% viewable for 2 or more seconds means that if at least 50% of your ad is visible on the viewer's screen for 2 seconds or more, it is counted as a view and you are then charged. Then there are discovery ads, which is built on a CPC basis, so cost per click. When someone searches on YouTube in the search bar, ads appear alongside the search results. So if someone clicks on your video to view it, then you are charged very much like Google search. Then we have Facebook and Instagram bidding. There's something called ThroughPlay, which is similar to YouTube's TrueView with a difference in timing. You're only charged if someone views 97% of your ad or 15 seconds, whichever comes first. So if your ad is 13 seconds long, then you are charged for a view. But if it's longer, then you're only charged once someone has viewed 15 seconds of it. 2-second continuous is the same as YouTube's 50% viewable. So 50% of the ad must be visible for 2 continuous seconds. And then finally, you have impression bidding. So the ThroughPlay option is more about optimizing the delivery of your ads as opposed to the bidding of them. You can still choose to pay for impressions of your ads even if you choose the ThroughPlay delivery option. So then what will happen is that Facebook's algorithm will look for people who are more likely to view your full ad or at least 15 seconds of it. But you will be charged for an impression as soon as even 1 pixel of your ad is visible on the screen. So that's the difference between the two. With the impression bidding, you are paying even for a split second of the ad on the screen, but with ThroughPlay, you're only charged after 15 seconds. Then we have Twitter, and Twitter offers options that other channels don't, at least not at the time of this lesson. The first one is the same as YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. It's the 50% viewable for 2 or more seconds. But then they have the option for you to also pay only when at least 3 seconds of your ad has been viewed with 100% of the ad being visible. So not 50%, it's 100%, which is ideally, it is obviously better. You would pay more for this than for the first option, the 50% viewable, but it is arguably better in terms of an impression for reach and from an ad recall perspective. Or you can pay when someone has viewed 6 seconds or more of your ad. The best option for you would depend on the objective and the length of your ad. So I mentioned streaming devices very briefly in the first lesson of Module 1. There is another name for this, which is OTT. It's over the top. Examples of this would be Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV, and Hulu. Now, these over-the-top media devices stream something called video on demand, which I just mentioned about YouTube. And apparently it is the death of TV, which I'm inclined to agree with. There are 3 types of video on demand within the over-the-top category. First up, we have the subscription basis. So you pay a monthly fee to stream content. Examples of that would be Netflix, Hulu, and HBO Go, and there will be more very, very soon. Then there is transactional, and here you pay per piece of video content, like hiring movies at your local video store. iTunes and Google Play are examples here. And then finally, there is ad-supported, which is where the free version of YouTube comes in. So it is free content, but you need to put up with ads. Some other examples are Twitch and Vimeo. Over the Top allows marketers to use targeting, ad insertion, and advanced analytics to create shorter and more personalized ads. People watching these ads from an OTT streaming device, they cannot skip or install an ad blocker. So that is a huge benefit. As a result of those, of course, video completion rates are significantly higher for over-the-top advertising. However, from a measurable perspective, unless you're looking at awareness or just views in general, this doesn't mean too much to you. You know, you're wanting to keep an eye on the conversion rate as well, if you're using it for sales or leads, etc. One of the big challenges that marketers face when it comes to reaching their target audience is the use of ad blockers. An ad blocker is a piece of software designed to prevent ads from appearing on a web page. People use them for less interruptions and more control over their online experience. And obviously to reduce those irrelevant and highly annoying ads, which all of us have received, because not everyone is fantastic at determining and targeting their target audience. Ad blockers are very important to keep in mind when you're looking at your target market. If you're targeting people in tech, like software developers or IT technicians, just as some examples, it's good to know that a larger percentage of these people compared to the average population make use of ad blockers. So they don't like being advertised to, and they know what's putting in terms of that. So you'd need to get more creative with your content and your strategy. And what that means is trying to get around ad blockers. There are a few ways to try and combat the use of ad blockers. First up, there is whitelisting, and this means that they would add your site to the list of sites that will allow ads to show from. So there's almost a settings section in the ad blocker, and people can allow certain sites that they actually want to be receiving ads from. You could also be more aggressive and block your content unless the viewer enables ads. Let's say someone wants to watch your webinar and you won't allow them to unless they have allowed ads to appear on your site. You need to think very carefully before adopting this approach, as it can actually do more harm than good. But if your content has a high perceived value, then people are more likely to allow ads to be shown. Then we have native advertising, and native ads are ads that match the look and function of the media that they appear on. For example, the website. So ad blockers do block native ads if they are distributed via a JavaScript tag from a third party. So essentially, if they see that there is a little snippet of code that is not from your site, so first party data, then that is one way that an ad blocker picks up that it is an ad versus your normal content. If you publish your ad via your own CMS, so again, your first party cookie or data, then there is a reduced chance of being blocked. However, by law, all ads actually need to be labeled as ads, and some ad blockers can't pick up on this text. So it's a bit of a workaround. It's not guaranteed or foolproof or will work all the time. As deepnativeadvertising.com states, native advertising is not a technical solution to the technicalities of ad blockers, but it is a format that could help reduce the desire to install an ad blocker in the first place. Native ads are less intrusive and therefore they're less annoying. And that makes people less likely to install ad blockers. That's essentially what they're saying. Now, of course, it is always helpful to know about some tools that you can generate ideas for content. First up, use YouTube. It is a great resource. We have come across this before. You choose your keywords and then insert them into the search bar. It's as simple as that. And then you can see what automatically populates underneath. If we look at the example on the screen, we have hairstyles. These are the top volume searches with that keyword. So that's how that works. With the first one being hairstyles for short hair. So that could be a video idea right there. You do hairstyles for short hair. Then we have long hair, medium hair, etc. However, some of these keywords or search terms are quite broad. So you would need to do further research. Use those keyword tools that we've spoken about in the first and second modules to just try and find some longer tail keywords. Then there is, of course, Google Search. You can do the same for Google Search. And for both search and YouTube, you could try the phrase match keyword type for different results. So you would put your query in inverted commas. This sometimes lets you see longer tail search terms that won't come up with just the broad keyword. So you could try that in YouTube as well. Just add a phrase match keyword. Then we have answerthepublic.com, and this is where you can see the top questions people are asking about a particular topic or keyword. The free version aggregates global results, but there is a paid version where you can segment your search by region and some demographic data as well. So here I have looked at marketing, and you can see around that we've got how, why, what, will, can, where, when, which, who. So these are the kinds of questions. You can see there are tons, and you can use those to generate some content ideas. Then we also have something called BuzzSumo, and here you can monitor the top performing articles and blogs across the internet. Very handy. You search with your keyword to see what is being shared, and then you can also discover new topics, you can find influencers, and you can also track competitors and industry trends. This is a paid tool, but you can actually take out a 7-day free trial, so I would recommend it and see how much value it gives you. Then we have Quora, which is one of my favorites at the moment, and it is a space where people can ask and answer questions and share information on topics that they know about. It's a great place to see what kind of themes keep popping up, what problems people need help with solving, etc. So here you would include, or if you're signing up as a person to use the platform, you would include which topics do you know about. You could also include topics that you want to know about. You can follow spaces, so that is groups or where they are discussing the topics that you're interested in. And of course, as I mentioned, you include the topics that you know about as well. You can become actively involved, comment on other people's comments, answer people's questions, and that will also make you more visible in terms of an awareness perspective. So here, once you have created a profile, you can see at the top what is your question or link, so you can ask questions as well as answering them, of course. Then all the topics that you're wanting to follow are on the left, and you can add to those when you want to. So once you know what content you want to create, you of course need to plan your video. This is very important. You need to have quite a few things in place before you can actually start creating your video. So the first step would be to create a storyboard, which is almost a frame by frame description of your video. Depending on the length and the objective, you might want to have a very detailed storyboard or just a general overview, particularly if it's not going to be too complicated. Then you should know how long your video is going to be before you shoot it. In the case of an ad, your video might follow these 4 key points. Firstly, an opener, which is where you would position the content and capture your viewer's attention. So those first 5 seconds. Then a problem that your viewer has and how you are the solution. And then you would end off with a call to action or CTA. Then we have B-roll footage. If you're planning to include shots of your team into a video or cut away from the presenter to other footage, then this additional footage is called B-roll and is something that you need to plan for as well. You can get B-roll from multiple areas. It might be shot by another crew. You might pull it from old footage that you've taken, or you might buy stock footage. B-roll might not need sound, and it's a great way to provide supporting imagery to your main content and establish shots, so i.e. provide better context. For example, you might be talking about a particular region in the world, but instead of showing your presenter talking about it, you might include footage of the area. Then we have the rule of thirds, and this is a standard composition technique used in imagery. If you know anything about photography, graphic design, etc., then this will be familiar to you. Your screen is split into a grid of 9 equal rectangles, as you can see on the right here, and the 4 points where these lines meet are the key anchor points. These points are used to draw the eye to the main points of interest in the shot. Viewers naturally look towards the top left anchor point, and many people will look at this area for longer than other areas of the shot. Your main point of interest should be lined up with 2 of the 4 anchor points. You can see that in the examples as well. It is not groundbreaking stuff, but following the rule of thirds makes it easier for the eyes to read your shot, and the composition of the shot won't be unsettling. Then lighting is incredibly important, and you need to avoid spotlighting. So you can see these 4 images here. On the first one, we have a front direct, just one light. Then we have a 45-degree angle, which also doesn't look fantastic. We have the side of 90 degrees, and then we have a side with reflector fill. Lighting does need a bit more research than this, or quite a bit rather, but it is very important and something to learn more about and get right before you shoot. You should, if you can, film multiple takes. It's a good idea so that you have more footage to work with when you're editing. Also, film from different angles if possible. It just gives a bit of variety to the actual video content, and also it might present better. You should focus on quality audio. This is incredibly important. Get a good microphone or a good room at the very least, where the audio can be crisper and clearer. And then you also need to make sure that you choose your music very carefully. It shouldn't be something that is jarring, that is too loud. People also have different tastes, of course, and you can't cater for all of them. But because music is very emotive, you just don't want to be unwittingly bringing up an emotion that you didn't plan for. So just look at your options carefully. Something that I use sometimes is a site called Storyblocks. They have video as well as audio, so that is something to check out. It is important to keep these things in mind. First, ask yourself, what is working in your other marketing? Do you have a blog or a really good infographic that is done well? And if you do, how could you change that into a video? So you don't always have to come up with new content ideas for every single format. You can really repurpose your content. And that is something that we said as well in our content development course, or lesson rather, in module 1. You can also use existing images and clips. If you have done any videos of your brand at work or your team or anything like that that relates to what you're wanting to shoot, then definitely use those. It's also more budget friendly. Remember to create for the platform. So don't have a crazy long video of 20-25 minutes on Facebook. That is something for YouTube or your website. You can then include, as I mentioned, a shorter version on a channel like social media or Facebook, and then link to the longer version of the content on another channel. Make sure that you use royalty-free or original music. You cannot just take any song or music that you want to. That's why I recommend looking at a site like Storyblocks. Many of them you do have to pay a small fee, but it's definitely worth doing that over getting some copyright complaint. You also need to make sure that you have a clear title and thumbnail, just like we discussed with the SEO lessons. This is just as important for the video content. The thumbnail also needs to be chosen carefully. It can't just be any image or any still from the video. Make it clear and relevant to what is actually happening in the video. Include a call to action as well, either in the video or along with the copy that you have. On YouTube, for example, you can add cards, what's called cards, at the end that you can then link to a website or to a form, etc. Cater for no audio where possible, and this is dependent on the channel that you're using. YouTube, you don't really need to worry about that so much. And then always preview your video on a mobile device just to make sure that it fits properly, as mobile is the top device for video consumption. So that's very important. Thank you very much. You have now completed 2 lessons of your Module 3 in your professional diploma. I will see you very soon for lesson 3. Bye guys.